Hello, inspired ladies. I'm Claire Hughes, an empowerment coach for women who are ready to break through their fears, change their mindset, set and meet goals, and build their confidence to live as their truest self. If you see me before, say hello. I'd love to hear from you. Put your name in the chat. Let me know where you're from. If you're watching from the replay, give me a hashtag replay. So yesterday, I touched on fears and how not working on them can kill your dreams, but I also want to touch on self-sabotage that stems from the past, but it affects your future. So if your self-esteem is low and you know your life needs to change, but the days and the months go by and you haven't achieved anything, there's probably some kind of self-sabotaging going on. It creates problems in your life and prevents you from achieving your goals. Some common self-sabotaging behaviors are things like self-injury, where they're cutting themselves, gambling, procrastination, self-medication, and alcohol and drugs, or eating for comfort. Those are just a few self-sabotaging behaviors. And I'm looking at my face. I'm so red. It was so nice out today. I digress. A lot of the time, people aren't even aware of what they're doing. They don't realize that they have these behaviors, and the damage it causes isn't instant sometimes. It takes a while to realize what you've done to yourself. So not recognizing these, that they exist, and not working on them can really cost your health and your relationships. My personal self-sabotage was my procrastination. I knew I had a good business, but I treated it like a hobby. And even though I worked full time, this is what I wanted to do. So I needed to treat it really like the business that I wanted to do full time. And it wasn't until about 2 years in that I noticed I still wasn't going anywhere. And it was because I was self-sabotaging myself. I wasn't doing what I needed to do. I was afraid of success. I wasn't sure I could handle it. So I kept putting off all the things I needed to really get done. So then 2 years later have passed, and I could have been far better off and a lot further along, but at least I recognized it, I'm aware of it, and I made all the moves that I needed to make. And so I'm wondering, are you aware of any of these self-sabotaging behaviors that you may have? Let me know. I'd love to hear in the comments. Unfortunately, for some people, they don't know what it is that they're doing to themselves, but you can't overcome it if you don't recognize it. So they have these patterns that are so ingrained in their lives that they just don't recognize that it's taking place. So we need to see, we see it sometimes. Have you ever heard of the show, My 600-Pound Life? Well, they know they're comfort eating. They know it's not good for them. They know nothing good comes from it. They start to lose weight, and then they give up. And why? It's because their self-esteem and their self-worth are so low that they aren't sure they deserve to be thinner. They don't know if they could handle it. They aren't sure they want the attention. And there's all sorts of reasons that they go back to their old and unhealthy habits, but they still do it, and that's self-sabotage. There's a saying by Erin Hansen, you may have heard, it floats around on Instagram a lot, and it says, "What if I fall?" And it says, "Oh, darling, but what if you fly?" So you can't think about the negative. You got to go for the positive. It is possible to overcome self-sabotaging behaviors, but the first step is noticing that you have them in the first place, admitting how they're hurting your future, and to begin working on them. There are a few apps, especially if you're a procrastinator, right out there that will help you eliminate your online distractions and keep you focused. There's all kinds of apps out there that could help you with your self-sabotaging behaviors. Have you ever heard the phrase, get out of your own way, or you're your own worst enemy? Well, that's what you're doing in self-sabotage stages of your life. You lash out at loved ones, you procrastinate on projects. It's all coming from a negative inner critic that turns us against us. So it really is important to figure out if you're doing this. And if you are, it's really important that you do the work to undo it, because your life will be in such a better place. It creates doubt. It undermines your desires. It makes us suspicious of others and fills our minds with thoughts that you don't deserve the life that you truly want. So once you take a look at what your behaviors are, and you know where they started, usually from your childhood, you can begin to work on noticing that negative inner critic that starts speaking up. And the more you notice when it's showing up and where it's showing up and what kind of situation you're in when it shows up, you can begin to silence it. And that's really important, that you silence that negative critic and start putting in some positive thoughts in your life. I have a great blog on my website, clairesinspired.com, if you want to dig a little deeper into the inner critic, and it really gets you to work on yourself. So hopefully you go to the website and just take a look at it. I don't have any login. I don't ask for your email or anything. clairesinspired.com. So take ownership of the behaviors that don't respect your life, and really push yourself to break through the old habits that aren't making a positive impact on your life. As with change, you may feel anxious and you want to quit, but know this: the moment that you start to feel anxious and nervous, that means you're really close to making a positive change in your life. So think of the amazing life that you will have if you can finally break through this self-sabotaging behaviors. When the nerves creep in, no, it's not a terrible thing. It's a sign that you're making progress, and that although it may be challenging, realize that soon you'll be rid of these old, familiar, self-sabotaging behaviors and this awful negative inner critic. And all good things come from you doing this work. There's no downside to it. So each time that old inner critic pops its head up and starts telling you these negative things, challenge what is being said. Ask if this is something that's going to help you or hurt your future. Develop better beliefs and values for your life, and know that negative behaviors from the past can be eliminated. Recognize the patterns, avoid self-sabotaging, and facing the past is an important part of becoming the person that you've always wanted to be. It will be very liberating once you start doing this, and you'll know you'll have a lot more control over your life, and you'll feel far more powerful once you start doing it. So it's really important to invest time into yourself and recognize what's holding you back and do the work. It's no good if you know this is happening, but you're not doing any work about it, because that's procrastination and that's self-sabotage. So get to work. Know that the work you do is going to get you on the path to where you want to be and who you want to be. So I hope you take this information that I've shared and take massive action to change your life. No more procrastination, no more self-sabotage. Life is too short. If you're ready to get started, take the time to invest in yourself and really begin to build an incredible life. Message me. I'd love to work with you. Let's get started. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Have an incredible life.